What's going on, guys? Sekapoko here, bringing another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. For this, we'll be going over my Limit Breaking Guide, Episode 7. If you guys want to see the previous videos, they will be in the description below, so you can actually click on any of them. For the amount of legends in this video, we're going to be going over Blackbeard, Judge, and Legend Doffy, as well as a lot of the new batch units that came out there, as well as the Legend Doffy batch, the Judge batch, and the entire set of Limit Break units that came out with Blackbeard. If you guys have never been here before, make sure you guys hit the like button down below, as well as the subscribe button down below, so that supporting the channel, and of course, keep the channel growing. If you guys do want to get notifications on all my videos, make sure you hit the bell notification right next to it so you get notifications every time I drop a video. Without further ado, let's go into the limit breaks and talk about all the units. For the day we're going to be talking about is going to be Legend Black. Now, Legend Blackbeard was a little bit of a letdown as far as the limit break goes. What we're going to see on the stats is we're just going to get an extra 440 HP and an extra 225 attack, bringing him up to almost 4,000 HP and 1,745 attack. You get max cannons, that'll put up to 1945 attack. The increase in attack is really, really nice, so that part's really cool. Big problem is here, if you can see this is actually reducing the cooldown of your Blackbeard by 1 turn. Really annoying, that's only 1 turn. So you know Blackbeard maxes out at 19 turns, he goes down to 18 turns. That sucks! That sucks so bad! 19 turn going down to 18 turn, man. That's horrible. But can't do anything about it. There's no captain ability increase, nothing there. It's basically just a stats increase, and that's all you really get. His first sailor ability on here is going to boost his character's attack against DEX characters by 2 times. I don't understand that. Did Solaris mistranslate this? Is it DEX characters? I think this might be strength characters. I don't know. If he did translate this correctly, then great. But I'm not 100% sure. All right. But we'll go with that. His second sailor ability is going to be the attack HP and recovery of all characters by 50, which is really good. So you get 50 stats to all characters. And his full limit break package, is going to be Enrage, critical hit, and slot bind self reduction. Now we don't have all the stuff in for the critical strikes because we do not have a max limit broken Blackbeard to test that out on, and I do not have the limit break crystals to do so. So that is on this account, so I can't do that. But otherwise, the Enrage is really nice. Looks like you're probably getting about 100 to 150. I'm guessing about 150 on the Enrage and 70% or more crit. Crit is really nice. The Enrage is really nice, and those are the reasons to get him. And you also get slot bind self reduction, which is also good because it starts out at 3 turns. That probably goes up to 10 or maybe even fully. We'll see. The stat increase is really, really nice. So overall, the limit break itself is really disappointing because he does not get the extra socket and he does not get the cooldown. However, he does get a nice stat increase and some interesting limit break abilities. So I'd say yes, this is worth getting. But of course, if you have better legends to limit break first or other characters you want to limit break first, do those first, and this will be a kind of... The next character we're going to talk about is going to be DEX Caesar. Now, DEX Caesar is going to start out at 1383 attack, and when you get his max limit break, you get 170 attack, which is extremely high, and then you only get 80 recovery. You get nothing else, which is really weird. You usually don't see characters like this get massive stat increases. The attack increase that you're getting out of the Caesar is really, really high. He'll boost his attack to over 1500 attack. That is really good. And you also get cooldown reduction, which is going to be a total of 3 cooldown that we're getting here, as well as an extra socket. So Caesar gets a total of 5 sockets, which is going to be great. Plus, he gets 2 sailor abilities. This is so far looking like a great limit break. Critical strike as well as slot bind self reduction, really good there. His first sailor ability is going to boost attack, HP, and recovery of driven characters by 30, and his second sailor ability is going to completely resist paralysis. 1553 attack. Wow, that's really high. 1553. That's really, really high for a rare recruit. It's really, really good. That means if you get him candied and everything, you'll be at 1753 attack. That's extremely good. Definitely a really, really good limit break overall. I'd say yes, this is definitely worth it if you need a 2-turn driven booster. Obviously, if you have a new Coby rare recruit or you're playing with Trebol, they would probably be better units, but this is a really good limit break, putting him on par with those units. Very cool. The next unit we'll be going over is going to be INT Trebol. Trebol originally starts out at 1381 attack and is going to get an extra 120 attack, putting him at 1501 attack, which is pretty darn good. Getting a little mini HP increase, not too bad there. Starts out at 15 turns. His special cooldown is going to go down by 4 turns, putting him down to 11 turns with the limit break, which is pretty cool. And he also is getting that 5th socket here, which is really nice. Going to gain 2 sailor abilities. The first sailor ability is going to boost stats of driven characters by 30. The second sailor ability is going to reduce paralysis duration by 1 turn. This is not paralysis on himself. This is paralysis for the full team, so that's very good. Overall, this is a pretty cool limit break so far. He gets Enrage and slot bind self reduction. not the best there. To be honest, the Trebol as a unit is not very good. His special ability just changes his own orb as well as his captain orb into matching and locks orbs for 1 turn, dealing 13 times character damage in all enemies. So overall, not that great of a unit because the new Trebol is way better. So if you do have the strength Trebol, it's way better to get limit break him first. Overall, I would say no, do not limit break this unit. Even though he does have a good limit break, it is still a bad unit. The next unit we're going over is Strength Lao G. Strength Lao G originally maxes out at 1420 attack. He's going to get an extra 50 attack in his limit break, putting him at 1470. Not bad, not amazing, but not bad. His special is still, going to change all orbs, including block orbs, into G orbs. So I don't really know why it says randomly. That part always has bugged me on when I read Lao G special. It throws me off. I really wish Solaris would change this, so please Solaris change that from randomly to just changes all orbs, including block orbs and the G orbs. If it's not all G orbs, then he's gonna get a grand. He starts out at 18 turns, and with his limit break, he's getting a grand total of 7 cooldown reduction, putting his turns down to 11 turns. So he gets 2 on the first one, 2 on the second one, and 3 on the final one. So you're gonna get critical strike as well as slot bind self reduction for the abilities, so crit is really nice. And you get, of course, the 5th socket on the Lao G, so that is also very cool. Offline self-reduction is also interesting there. Now, his cellular ability is going to make recovery and teaming beneficial for himself and no other units on the team. With the driven meta right now, that's really not super useful, but if you want to get it, that's great. If you don't have the Pica, this is a great unit to substitute for your INT Pica if you don't have the Akainu either. His other limit for ability is if your HP is above 98% at the start of the turn, boost the attack of driven characters by 50. I do not get this limit break ability. If you're at full HP from this limit break here, it says you are going to get a 50 attack on driven characters. That's really stupid, but whatever. If you do need this character limit broken, you're feel welcome to. I'd say no overall because there are better units in the game. However, if you do need this character, go for it. I think I just race shop this dude. I really think I just race shop this dude. I really think I just race shop my only copy of Dagama. Our next unit is going to be Dagama. I actually just realized I race shopped my only copy of Dagama, so I can't show all the limit break stuff in there, but it's already written here, so it's totally fine. Now he's going to reduce the paralysis and despair duration by 5 turns, so that's really useful for certain teams, and he's also going to cut HP of one enemy by 10%, maxing out at 15 turns. Now his limit break is going to give him 3 turns of cooldown reduction, putting him down to 12 turns. He's going to get a sailor ability that boosts the attack, HP, and recovery of all characters by 25. And his second sailor ability is reducing silence against this unit by 2 turns and slot bind self-reduction. To be honest, this unit is not super useful, but could be useful if you do need a paralysis and despair remover. His other limit breaks on no healing reduction are probably not super useful. So if I was going to get this done, I wouldn't even go all the way. I would probably just get him up to 14 at the absolute maximum to get that second sailor ability. Even if you don't need that sailor ability, then go all the way up to like number 10, I guess. Number 12, and you'll be done there. Like, you don't have to fully limit break every character. That's like, this is one of those characters, if you really wanted to, you can limit break him. But to be honest, he's so niche, you shouldn't do that anyways. He's not going to get too much attack. It looks like he's going to get about 110 attack, so his attack stats are at 978, so it's super low. So overall, I say no, don't limit break this unit. The next unit on the Rocket Docket is going to be DEX Laffitte. Now, DEX Laffitte, of course, maxes out 1,132 attack, and he's going to get an extra 70 attack, putting him at 1202 attack. That's really crappy. His sailor ability originally is going to boost all attack of all characters by 100 if your captain is driven characters. That is a really great sailor ability. His limit break is going to give himself quick damage reduction as well as slot bind self reduction. You're not going to get any cooldown reduction to this character at all, but he's also going to reduce blindness as his sailor ability by 3 turns. This unit's crap. Who cares? Don't do it. The next unit on our Rocket Docket is going to be Onigumo. Onigumo was actually really interested about his limit break, and I'm hoping it's good because I haven't read it yet. His viability kind of got overridden recently with the limit break of Lion Song Zoro, who makes strength orbs beneficial for both slasher and driven characters. Onigumo's viability was to make him really good for Akainu teams, but we'll see how it goes. Now, Solaris hasn't actually fully put everything in here, so that's no big deal, but we'll have him read it out. He's going to originally max out at 1383 attack, and he's going to get an extra 100 attack, putting him at 1483 attack, which is pretty good. He's going to get 1 extra socket as well as 1 minus cooldown, putting him down from 9 turns down to 8 turns, also good. His sailor ability is going to boost stats of driven characters by 30. Yeah, whatever, who cares about that? And his 2 limit break abilities are going to be damage reduction versus Psy and slot bind self reduction. So overall, this is a shit limit break, unfortunately. So Onigumo is out and Lion Song Zoro is in for your Akainu teams if you want to get matching orbs, unfortunately. And if you do want to use Onigumo still, that's fine, but Lion Tongue Zoro is still a little better. But of course, Onigumo is good for niche situations as well. The next character on the list is going to be INT Perona. Now, INT Perona originally is going to max out at 1001 attack, putting her at 1111 attack after her limit break. And she's going to get, looks like an extra socket, no extra cooldown. So she's still going to max out at 14 turns. She gets a 1 sailor ability. Her sailor ability is going to boost the HP of driven characters by 50. She's going to get a psi damage reduction as well as slot bind self reduction for her limit break. So overall, pretty bad limit break, not the best. Her unit, as a unit, this Perona is not super useful. There's not a ton of times you can use her special, which is going to reduce damage by 90% and reduce the defense of all enemies by 90%, as well as reducing enemies' threshold damage reduction, percent damage reduction by 2 turns. Threshold damage reduction and the percent damage reduction is really low, but if you do need that for your driven or shooter teams, that would be useful. But otherwise, not super useful. I'd say no unless you really, really want to increase your stats on your Perona, which I wouldn't do. The next character we have here is going to be Rage Shiki. Rage Shikis, as you can see, I already did it, so it's awesome. He's going to originally max out at 1407 attack and getting 110 attack from the limit break, putting him at 1517 attack, which is very good. He is still going to have the same special. His cooldown is going to go down by 1 turn on the first one and 1 turn on the second one, putting him down from 15 turns down to 13 turns, which is great. He's going to get that extra socket, putting him up to 4 sockets, which is awesome. And the other thing he's going to get for his limit break is going to be Enrage and Slot Bind Self Reduction. The Enrage is pretty good. You're actually going to get an extra 120 attack when you do the full Enrage. That's pretty good. And Slot Bind Self Reduction at 7 turns, which is not terrible. I mean, that's pretty good. I like the limit break, so I did it. It's really great. I love the stats. All increase in the Shiki. Having 4 sockets in the Shiki is really nice. I did that. Love it. So say worth. The next unit on the list is going to be a 5+ Nami. 5+ Nami is going to gain an extra 110 attack, putting her original attack from 1200 all the way up to 1310 attack. She's going to gain 1 extra socket, putting her up to 4 sockets. She's going to gain 2 sailor abilities. The first sailor ability is going to make Recover Orbs beneficial for id characters, which is actually really good. I like that a lot. That's a really good limit sailor ability. The second ability is going to boost the attack, HP, and recovery of id characters by 50. So overall, this is actually a really good limit break for a 5+ character. If you don't know about her special, she actually is an int orb booster. By 1.75. So overall, as a free-to-play unit, that's pretty good. And the fact that she's going to make RCB beneficial for each character is also interesting. So I definitely like that limit break. You're never going to use INT Nami, but if you did have a situation where you wanted to use INT Nami, this would be a pretty cool limit break. So I say no because the unit itself is not very good, but yes, the limit break is amazing. 50-50. You also get pinch healing as well as slot bind self-reduction. The next unit on the list is going to be Colo STR Enel, who originally maxes out at 1484 attack, and with the limit break getting an extra 100 attack, putting him up to 1584 attack, which is very, very high for a Coliseum unit. Very, very good on the stat increase. Reduce his cooldown by 1, putting him down to 13 turns. Gonna get a limit break of Dex damage reduction as well as pinch healing, and his pinch healing is going to max out at below 20% HP, going to get an extra 1.5 times recovery, and his recovery is increased by 50 with his limit break, putting him up at 352 recovery, which is pretty good. I mean, you get to 452 when you use candies and everything. Overall, pinch healing with this, that's not bad. That means you're getting an extra 675 recovery after you put recovery candies on your Enel. Overall, that's not terrible. That's actually pretty good. As a limit break, this is pretty good. For stats, you get 1 cooldown reduction. You don't get any extra sockets because he already has 5 sockets, so you don't have to worry about that. Overall, the unit is amazing. The limit break is pretty good. The stats are pretty good. The pinch healing is really nice, but the damage reduction is and overall, it's yeah, this is worth it. I didn't do it yet. I might do it later, but I had other units I want to limit break first, so I will probably do this unit. So yes, I get a yes. The next unit on the limit break list is going to be Legend Doflamingo. Now, Legend Doflamingo maxes out at, with full candies, Pentamax maxes out at 1924 attack, and he starts out at 1624. So what triggers me here is that he literally only gets 100 attack from his limit break. Why you do this, Byrnndi? We get quick damage reduction, self-heal reduction, which maxes out at 5 anti-heal, and then he's going to get slot bind self-reduction, which maxes out at 10 turns. Me this day. Starts out at 282 recovery, but he maxes out at 512 recovery, so you get a crap load of recovery on this character. Like if you look at the total amount of green orbs here, you get all the attack right up front and the 1 attack at the very end for 55. Overall, that's really mean. So his limit break is not very good for stats, but you do get a lot of recovery, which is really interesting, but it's okay. I'm just going to let it go. I'm going to let it go. We're going to get 2 set of abilities. The first one is going to make Quick Orbs beneficial for himself, and the second one is going to make Dex Orbs beneficial for driven characters. The Dex Orbs for driven characters is at least one way up here, and if you do end up getting his limit break all the way done, that is actually really worth getting. Now overall, this is probably a bottom tier character to limit break, even though he is so freaking good. Because you only get an extra 100 attack, and that part is really, really annoying. You get an extra HP increase and everything, so that's great. Do other legends first. Legend Doffy, really amazing unit, one of the most amazing units in the game. Probably better to limit break other units first, unfortunately. The next unit on the list is going to be PSY Sugar. Now PSY Sugar is going to have a total of 1,120 attack, which will then, and she's going to gain an extra 90 attack on her limit break, which is pretty good. And if you get her max candy and everything, you should go up to like 1,400 attack, so whatever. She maxes out at 1210 attack if you give her max limit break, gains 1 extra socket and a sailor ability, and her sailor ability is amazing. She's going to make recovery orbs beneficial for driven characters. So should you get this? Absolutely, especially if you're running the Doffy team. She's going to get an int damage reduction as well as slot bind self reduction. So she goes up to 7 turns on the slot bind self reduction. So overall, that's an okay limit break, but the sailor ability gain is amazing. So if you are going to max out the Sugar, definitely get it at least up to number 14, so you get that slot, the recovery orbs beneficial. The next unit on the list is going to be Strength Trebol. Strength Trebol starts out at 1382 attack and will get an extra 110 attack from his limit break, putting him at 1492 attack. Max candy will be at 1692. He is going to get an extra socket on his limit break, as well as going to have a sailor ability that it makes tandem beneficial for driven characters. Should you get this limit break? Abso-friggin-lutely. And he's going to gain critical hit as well as slot bind self reduction. The slot bind self reduction maxes out at 8 turns, which is really good. And his critical strike is going to max out at a 40% chance with a 7% extra damage added to the attack. So overall, this is a really good limit break, and yes, you should do it. The next unit on the list is going to be Limited Coby. Limited Coby starts out at 1294 attack and gets an extra 110 attack on his limit break, putting him at 1404 attack. He's going to gain a -1 cooldown, which is going to then put him down to 14 turns. He's going to gain an extra socket and 2 sailor abilities. The first sailor ability is going to boost the HP of driven characters by 75, and the second sailor ability, which is really, really great, going to make Psy Orbs beneficial for driven characters. So very, very good for your Judge Doffy teams or your Double Judge teams or whatever you're going to use to make your Psy Orbs beneficial for your driven characters, and so you don't have to bring the Cavendish. I like these units a lot, especially if you're going to be making a driven team with Double Judge. Potential ability is going to be pinch healing as well as slot bind self reduction. You're going to get 7 turns of slot bind self reduction, and you're going to be below 50% HP. You're going to get 1 times character's recovery at the end of your turn that you hit a perfect. So you're going to gain. He maxes out at 350 recovery, and with limit break he gets an extra 40 recovery, putting him at 390 recovery. Which if you get max candies on him, he'll be up at 490 recovery, putting him at 490 recovery every time you hit a perfect below 50%. So that's really good to get. So I definitely recommend getting recovery candies on this guy and limit breaking him. He's very, very good. Really, really good limit break. One of the best limit breaks in the game. The next unit we're going to go over is going to be INT Pica. INT Pica is going to max out at 1250 attack. Max limit break, he's getting an extra 70 attack and a bunch of HP. He's going to have a massive HP pool. He starts out at 4,382 HP. When you get max candies as well as max limit break, he's going to go up to 5,108 HP. That's so high. Once they get an extra socket in his limit break, is going to have side damage reduction as well as slot bind self reduction. His sailor ability is going to make int orbs beneficial for driven characters. So yes, this is an amazing limit break. Please get it. There's only one other character that is better that makes int orbs beneficial, but Pica is really, really good, especially for this new 40 stamina socket book island to remove the bind. The next character is going to be the DEX Limited Akainu, who's going to start out at 1505 attack. When max limit broken, he's going to go up to get an extra 90 attack, putting him at 1595 attack, which is very, very strong. His limit break is going to keep him at the same amount of cooldown, but it's going to gain that extra socket, which everybody loves. It's going to make strength orbs beneficial for himself, which is really great, and he's going to make int orbs beneficial for driven characters. One of the most amazing limit breaks in the game. Definitely get this. This is amazing. Totally worth doing. He's also going to have Enrage, which will give him an extra 100 attack after you receive damage, and it has slot bind self reduction of 5 turns. Totally worth doing. Do not miss out on this limit break. The next unit on our list is going to be Senor Thick, who's going to originally start out at 1319 attack, and they're going to get an extra 100 attack on his limit break, putting him up to 1419 attack on his limit break. He is going to gain pinch healing as well as damage reduction. He starts out at 265 recovery, and with the extra limit break, he has 60 recovery, so he's going to max out at 325 recovery, which is pretty good. Extra 100 recovery candies that, but he get 425. His limit break for pinch healing will put him at 1.5 times recovery below 50%, which is really good for pinch healing. 50% and 1.5 is extremely good. So definitely, if you're looking for a character to get for pinch healing, this is a great unit for pinch healing. He's also going to get damage reduction there. If you're going to have 425 recovery times 1.5, there's an extra 637 recovery when you hit a perfect on this character below 50%. That's with everything max with max recovery as well as recovery candies. So that's pretty darn good. His special ability, if you did not know, is going to start out at 8 turns and stay at 8 turns because it's super low. If you don't know what his special ability does, he's going to reduce enemies' berry duration by 1 turn, speed 0, and reduce enemies' damage nullification by 1 turn. He's the only character in the game that removes damage nullification by 1 turn, so definitely a cool thing to have there. The only other thing that goes through damage nullification is the Blackbeard Captain ability. So the only 2 ways of getting around that is this Senor Pink special as well as Blackbeard. So overall, as a limit break, this is actually kind of an interesting limit break. Seeing how the Senor Pink is kind of an interesting unit overall, I'd say if you are going to be doing free spirit teams in the future, this is actually a pretty good limit break, but I'm going to hold off on it for this for now. I probably won't get it for a while until free spirit comes back and it's good again. The next unit we're going to be going over is V2 Rayleigh. Now V2 Rayleigh is going to max out originally at 1472 attack. With max limit break, he's going to gain an extra 210 attack, which puts him at 1682 attack, which is very high. Max candies at the maximum at 1882 attack. A little bit low on that attack stat, but that's okay. Overall, he's a really cool unit. I like V2 Rayleigh. He's really nice. He's going to gain critical hit, quick damage reduction, as well as anti-heal reduction, which is pretty good. Critical hit is nice, and the anti-heal is useful in certain situations. His sailor ability is going to boost stats of all characters by 50, and his second sailor ability is going to make strength and quick orbs beneficial for this unit, so he's going to gain more orbs if he's going to have him as a sailor, which is really nice. On a Lucy team, not super useful. I mean, the strength orbs will be nice for this unit, but you're hardly ever going to get strength orbs on your Lucy teams with this unit. So kind of a weird limit break for that, but otherwise stat-wise, it's fine. His critical strike is really, really good, putting him at 70% chance to get 8% additional damage. He's going to get 10 turns of anti-heal reduction as well as quick damage reduction. Overall, yeah, of course, this is a great limit break, but there are better ones. So unless you're going to just do this for stats, you'd probably be better off doing other ones first and this one later. This is definitely before V2 Doffy, but oh well, what can you do about that? The next character on the list is going to be Judge. Now, Judge is going to originally start out at 1510 attack, and he's getting an extra 215 attack, putting him up at 1725 attack. With max candies, that's 1925 attack, which is pretty darn high. In his limit break, he's going to gain 2 sailor abilities and just stats. So his first sailor ability is going to boost the attack and HP of powerhouse characters by 60, and his second ability is going to be completely resist paralysis on this character, which is also good. It's kind of a theme, though, that I'm seeing that powerhouse characters for Legends are going to get completely resist paralysis. I see it on Whitebeard and a couple other units too, so definitely seen that more often. His first limit break ability for crit is going to max his crit at a 50% chance to deal 10% extra damage which is pretty good. Not as good as the slashers that I've seen, but really good here. His slot bind is really, really good because he's going to actually completely resist slot bind in this character at max slot bind resistance, so that's really good. And he's also going to have 5% in damage. Damage reduction actually is like pretty good on the Judge character because he is already a damage reducing captain, so stacking damage reduction in other ways is also pretty cool. So I overall say yes, this is a great limit break, totally worth doing. The next unit on the list is Ichiji. Ichiji originally is going to max out at 1421 attack, getting an extra 110 attack from his limit break, putting him up at 1531 attack on his max stats. He's going to get 1 cooldown reduction, putting him down to 13 turns, and he's also going to get Enrage as well as Slotbind self reduction. His sailor ability that he gains is going to be boost the attack of all characters by 50, so that's very, very good for your Judge Badge teams. Really good limit break so far. And his Enrage is going to give him an extra 100 attack. He's also going to get Slothbind self-reduction at 8 turns, which is really, really good. So overall, yes, this is a great limit break. I totally recommend getting this, especially for your Judge teams. Great unit overall. The next unit we're going to be going over is going to be Niji. Niji is going to max out at 1382 attack and getting an extra 90 attack in his limit break, putting him up at 1472 attack. He is going to gain 1 cooldown reduction, just like the every unit in the Judge Batch, and he's also going to get a sailor ability, which is going to boost the attack, HP, and recovery of all characters by 20, which is really good. And he's going to get an extra socket, just like every other Judge Badge character. He's also going to gain a Slotbind self-reduction as well as critical hit. His critical hit is going to be a 30% chance to deal 9% extra damage on this character, which is pretty good. Not amazing, but pretty good. And it's going to be 8 turns on Slotbind self-reduction. Overall, I'd say, yeah, this, of course, is great, worth using. I've already done it, so definitely worth doing, especially if you're Judge Badge. Very, very cool unit. The next unit on the list is going to be Yonji. Yonji is going to max out at 1341 attack originally and gain an extra 100 attack with limit break, putting him at 1441 attack. He's going to gain 1 special reduction as well as an extra socket, just like every unit in the Judge Badge, and his sailor ability is going to boost the HP of all characters by 100. He's going to get quick damage reduction as well as Slotbind self-reduction, so overall his limit break is actually pretty bad, but if you're going to be doing the whole Judge Badge anyways, you might as well do this unit. I'd say this is the one of the last units in the Judge Badge you could limit break, but I'd also say this is actually a little bit sooner in the list because his special ability is based off your attack. So because he gains 40 times attack and an additional type of damage, you're going to obviously want to candy this unit and limit break him for the stats to actually get more damage out of your tap timer attack. So yeah, I'd say this is worth doing just for the stats. So you don't actually have to go all the way on this unit right away. Just try to get as much attack as you can. The next unit on the list is going to be Reiju. Reiju originally is going to max out at 1312 attack and gain an extra 90 attack on her limit break, putting her at 1402 attack. She's also going to have reduce your cooldown by 1 turn, just like every other unit in the Judge batch, and is going to get anti-heal reduction as well as slot bind self reduction in her limit break. Of course, gets that extra socket. She's going to reduce anti-healing by 3 turns and slot bind self reduction by 8 turns. Her anti-healing is actually really bad. It's only going to max out at 3 turn reduction, which is like how it used to be in the older limit breaks. And her slot bind self reduction is good. However, I mean, Reiju is probably one of the last units you're going to limit break on this team, except that her Sailor ability only reduces silence on herself by 3 turns, so it is useful in certain situations because you can reduce your silence on yourself. That part is really nice, so if you get silenced, you actually have a way of getting rid of the silence because your Reiju is limit broken. So overall, yeah, if you need that, sure. She's one of the later units in the Judge batch you want to Yonji before this unit, I guess. Over is going to be Limited Rare Recruit Ben Beckman. Limited Rare Recruit Ben Beckman is going to max out at 1384 attack, gain an extra 90 attack, putting him up at 1474 attack. He's also going to get 1 extra socket, putting him at 5 sockets, and 2 Sailor abilities. His first Sailor ability is going to be reduces the blindness duration by 3 turns, and the second Sailor ability is going to add 2 times character attack as additional typeless damage, kind of like the DEX Lucci and the Strength Kairos that were introduced. It just adds that Sailor ability to his kit. His original Sailor ability is no Sailor ability at all, so that's kind of cool that he's getting 2 on this one. He also gets Critical Strike as well as Enrage, and his Rage puts his attack at 150, which is really, really good. And his crit is going to be 20% chance to do 10% additional damage. Now the 10% additional is nice, but the 20% chance is so overall, yeah, definitely worth doing, but you know, could be better. Definitely a great limit break though, overall. This is going to be Limited Byrnndi World. This time we're recording this without music. Limited Byrnndi World originally maxes out at 1408 attack, and he maxes out at 1508 when he's finally fully limit broken. He's going to gain 2 Sailor abilities. The first Sailor ability is going to be boost the attack, HP of shooter characters by 150, and the second Sailor ability is going to be boost the attack of shooter characters. Keep doing that by 75. He's going to gain -2 cooldown, which is also pretty good, and also have 2 different limit breaks. The first limit break being a Enrage, and the second one being Barrier Penetration. He's going to get an extra 120 attack on his Enrage, and unclear on the amount of Barrier Penetration percentage threshold. Overall, yes, this is a good limit break, totally worth doing if you are in need of having this Limit Byrnndi World. Then Byrnndi World does feed a kind of a niche requirement for shooter teams as well as driven teams if you do need to remove attack up entirely. Now, driven teams also got Coliseum Enel, so Coliseum Enel, of course, before this unit because he's a better unit overall for driven teams. But if you're using this for shooter teams, obviously a really big unit. The final unit of the day is going to be PSY Garp, who originally maxes out at 1220 attack and is going to get an extra 140 attack, putting him up at 1360 attack, which is He's going to get an extra 2 sockets, which is actually really good. And he's also going to get 1 cooldown reduction, putting him down to 12 turns. Also pretty good. He's going to have a first Sailor ability, which is going to make recovery orbs beneficial for himself, and his second Sailor ability is going to boost the base attack of side characters by 65. Also pretty good. He's going to get Enrage as well as slot bind self reduction, and no one has done this limit break because, you know, it's Garp. Who gives a crap? He sucks. Don't do it. It's whatever. Alright guys, well, I'm Sekapoko. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the limit break tutorial guide. If you guys did enjoy the guide, make sure you hit the like button down below as well as the subscribe button down below so you get lots of support to the channel and of course keep the channel growing. At the end of the video, we're going to have the previous video, so make sure if you haven't checked that out, go ahead and check that out. And if you do want to get notifications on all my videos, make sure you hit the bell notification right to the sub button so you get notifications every time I drop a video. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Peace.